All right, everyone, couple major Nintendo stories we need to talk about today, starting with Nintendo Switch Online getting its latest free game trial revealed. Then the big talking point for today's video has to do with a massive update around the ongoing speculation rumor mill talk that suggests that Nintendo would be revealing some kind of new hardware this month. Well, clearly now we have the Splatoon edition of the OLED model to look forward to, but we need to break down why that is not going to be the end of the pro rumor speculation talk for the rest of this year and into 2023, as there's some interesting updates that hit the internet around the story, and we have to go over how credible, if at all, these are, and whether or not you should be expecting future announcements from Nintendo around new hardware this year. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below, hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. Now, as I mentioned, guys, we got a couple different massive stories to unpack today, and we have to kick it off with a conversation around Nintendo Switch Online and their free game trial program, as this is something that I personally love to see. We do not get the traditional support like you see the competitors often do with adding in like a backlog of a few free games per month to the service, such as Sony and Microsoft. You oftentimes, just for being a plus paid subscriber, get 2 or 3 free games per month that are added into your library that, as long as you remain a subscriber, you are able to go in and access and play. And while Nintendo is not quite up to that point with supporting some of their old classic titles, and we know how Nintendo values their IPs and we may never see them do that, this is at least a step in that direction in some points, because it literally is the full game that you have access to play for a full week. And they are also doing some genius marketing moves around it, as we know to expect Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope to be released soon, and this is Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle for the free trial, as you can see the following posted up over on the Nintendo of America Twitter account, where it says, Nintendo Switch Online members, you can now download and try the full Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle game at no additional cost until 7/12 at 11:59 p.m. PT. And then in addition to that, you have purchased the full version of Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle for just $9.99 until 7/20. So clearly free games at the end of the day, or even just a free trial that then transfers into the full game if you do choose to purchase it at that discounted cost, is just a good business move, and it's just an extra plus for being a Nintendo Switch Online subscriber. And this does hit the base plan pricing, so you don't even have to do the $50 annual price point per year for the expansion pack to take advantage of this. This is across the board. If you pay that $20 annual price, or either the monthly options that they have available, you can go log in and download this game. Clearly it's been out for a while, clearly it's had a ton of sales around it for quite some time, but for maybe fans that never gave it a shot or checked it out leading into the release of the sequel to this game, that by all accounts looks like a much higher budget project and definitely looks like Ubisoft is taking to the next level, I think that it is a great thing to see Nintendo do and remind fans, hey, go check out the first one, see if you like this gameplay style, and they will most likely convert many new fans as part of an initiative like this. Not to mention, if you do really find yourself playing and enjoying the game for hours and hours and the game trial comes to an end, you may decide to pick it up for the $9.99, or you may be crazy and just decide to grind out the entire game in less than a week while it's available until the 12th. So regardless, just another good news addition for Nintendo Switch Online subscribers, and one that I love to see. I want to hear from you guys in the comments down below whether or not you've played Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle, if you enjoyed that game through and through. I own it, but have not put much time into it at all. However, I do intend to at least brush up my skills somewhat so I know exactly what to expect gameplay wise from Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope, because I want to be ready to go when that game launches, as it definitely has my interest peaked on this style of Mario crossover games. So please share all your thoughts with me, and whether or not you hope we see stuff like full-length free games just added in as part of our libraries in the future with Nintendo Switch Online. I could see them potentially dipping their toe into that in the future if we talk about higher pricing tiers for NSO. I don't think they do it at their current price points, because Nintendo is Nintendo, but regardless, I want to hear what you hope to see with the future of the service in addition to these free game trials, and whether or not you want to see stuff like full-length older games added in as free monthly perks for existing subscribers. So please share all your thoughts and feelings on all things Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle being free, and what you want to see from the future of NSO in the comments down below. Now, the other story we're talking about today is really a two-part discussion, as part of it has to do with some confirmation around what we speculated upon yesterday on the channel, which was that something mysterious was going on with Nintendo's YouTube channel, as they took both the OLED model trailer and the Switch Lite model trailer private. And of course, we've seen them do that in the past, with the Lite model trailer leading up to the OLED's ultimate reveal, causing all of that Switch Pro rumor speculation to run rampant. Well, what was it? It was not the Switch Pro, but rather a Splatoon edition of the OLED model, which of course, to be fair, does look fantastic. And I also think while hardcore fans will be interested in purchasing that and adding it to their collection, I am not interested in it personally because I'm pretty much done buying Switches that have the same Tegra X1 in there because I already own an OLED model. There's zero reason for me to upgrade to this. However, I know that some people will be very excited, and I do think, to be fair, objectively, it looks awesome in my opinion. I actually think that the controller color and the layout of the designs and everything, while you can argue it maybe looks a little messy, it's Splatoon. I mean, that's what it's supposed to look like. I think that the color combination and layout looks excellent for a special edition Switch, but that is clearly not what a large portion of the internet was hoping that this new Switch hardware announcement, if it was happening at all, because to be fair, a lot of people called it into question, didn't think Nintendo would be announcing anything. At least we now have some kind of indication where it could have been a different scenario, but there is definitely a trend and a pattern with Nintendo around announcing hardware and then taking their previous videos of previous models private to essentially not confuse the algorithm whenever you want to pump out a new edition of something or a new model of something. So that's at least one thing we have to look for in the future around upcoming announcements. But then the part two to this story is ultimately the fact that the Switch Pro rumors will not die and will not go away until we ultimately either see a Switch Pro or more powerful Switch revision happen, or we get something like the true next generation. Just buckle up and strap in for the ride. And if you don't like the speculation talk, you don't have to click on the videos. It's completely up to you. But that's the side tangent. You know, if you want to comment, why are you talking about the Switch Pro? Well, you don't have to watch. But anyway, for people who do want to watch and want to know the updates for what is now being claimed for the potential of a further announcement from Nintendo, even happening this year in 2022, which I'm going to share my thought process on when this thing will launch, because spoiler, I don't think it's coming in 2022. I don't think we get a more powerful Switch or an additional revision that actually launches this year. However, there is at least enough interesting information here to pose the question on whether or not Nintendo is starting the production phases of something like a more powerful revision. But we have to quickly hop over to Family Boards, where there is a ongoing discussion where it was spotted that the same Chinese forum that did leak out the shell of the Switch Lite ahead of its announcement also had a user claim that the Splatoon 3 OLED would be dropping at an exact time that it did indeed go live ahead of its announcement, and that this is also somebody who is claiming that we have more powerful hardware to look forward to. We have to go over there and read through the exact comments together to get on the same page. Then I will share my ideas and opinions on what this could potentially mean in terms of if we should expect anything in terms of new Switch hardware. So originally we have a user by the name of Truno saying the leak comes directly from a moderator of a Chinese forum, the same forum that leaked the Lite shell 3 years ago. They mentioned that Nintendo would reveal a new themed OLED a while back, and today they confirmed it would be revealed today at 9 a.m. and it would be Splatoon 3 themed. They also mentioned that Drake, the Pro/Successor/Switch 2 would be showcased later in the year. Then someone replying with a question, got it, and did they make that Drake comment today as well, or is that one older? They then replied, much older. It also corroborates statements made by another prolific user in the forum that is apparently a factory worker. The factory worker mentioned all the way back in April that Nintendo is working on a new Switch OLED themed console and a brand new Switch model. Those are the only two leakers that I'm aware of, and the only reason their posts are being entertained is because it's the same forum that leaked the Switch Lite backplate before anyone else. Now that the moderator also nailed the date, time, and theme of the revealed OLED model, I guess they have a bit more credibility. Now then we have to read one more post from Family Boards, which is an update to the story, because a lot of people online are saying that this person is claiming that for sure in September is when this Switch model will actually be revealed, and potentially lining it up for something like a holiday season sale this year. And we have to clarify this exact portion of the conversation as well. Figured I'd give an update here as my post got a lot of exposure. The same mod that leaked the reveal today just mentioned that they'd have to reconsider if what they had heard about a new model later this year, I believe they mentioned September, is legit or not. However, they seem to be adamant that a new model is coming sooner than later. So listen, there's a lot to unpack with this particular story. So first of all, you do have some legitimate credibility around the fact that this person did call the exact launch time of the Splatoon themed OLED, and that it's the same account that said that a new edition of the Switch OLED was in mass manufacturing, and that there's going to be some kind of more powerful Switch model coming sooner than later. How I think where one big misstep with this entire story happened is that the people took his first comment as that we think that September is the time frame that Nintendo's for sure going to reveal this and then probably sell it in holiday season 2022. That is where I would absolutely, even if you buy into this or don't, whatever, I wouldn't expect Nintendo to go ahead and launch brand new Switch hardware this holiday season with a short turnaround time announcement. I think if they did something like that, we would see the announcement this month or next month at the latest, and then you would lead it into the holiday cycle of sales, because it would just be very strange marketing to do a Splatoon 3 special edition and then turn around and before that even has an opportunity to sell sell later in August. Also announced that yes, you have this holiday season a more powerful Switch coming. Well, that's clearly going to fragment the buyer base for that Splatoon edition console, and you can argue that maybe Nintendo looks at something like a more powerful console as just a true next tier up and a true upgrade for like enthusiast level. But there's going to be a lot of people gravitating towards this new console to upgrade from their OG Switch, and I don't think you do it so close to a revision, or rather a special edition of an existing handheld console like the OLED Splatoon model. So if I am a betting man, and we've talked about this idea on the channel before, if there is indeed a new more powerful model of the Switch planned for part of the current life cycle, as this user also said, it's like the same Switch logo, so it's not going to be a true next generation break, but rather part of the existing family of consoles. If that is real and that is credible and we can expect it, it is going to launch alongside of Breath of the Wild 2, in my personal opinion. I think Nintendo just does the repeat button where they launch brand new, more powerful hardware alongside of a marquee AAA title like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, and we may get an announcement before year's end, maybe in late October, which would kind of be an interesting conversation to have for like, definitely that cannibalizes some of their holiday system sales, but you also know that Breath of the Wild 2 is a system seller, and people that maybe only have a PS4, PS5, or Xbox right now would honestly consider grabbing a more powerful Switch, even at something like a $400 price point. Maybe even we're talking $450 if the thing is really decked out with top-end specs and can do DLSS 4K upscaling when docked, and you tell your user base that the best way to play Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 is with this brand new console. Like, that's definitely a very real possibility and could be what Nintendo is planning in terms of marketing. And if that is the case and this thing is in production right now, there will be only more smoke to this fire and only more things hinting towards the existence. So regardless of whether or not you like the pro stories, you like the pro conversations, or anything with Nintendo Switch, I know it's a dead horse at this point in time just because of how long people have been predicting it, but regardless of whether or not you like it, I'm just here to warn you, it's going to be around either way, because clearly fans are ready for something more powerful at this point now that we're 5 full years into the Switch's life cycle, and Nintendo could very easily treat this more like their DS line of consoles, where we do see newer, more powerful models of it later into its life cycle. And that's where my personal thoughts and opinions fall on this. I'm not sold one way or another on whether or not we're going to see a new model Switch, whether it be late 2022 or into 2023 with the Breath of the Wild 2 launch. I'm hopeful that it will happen, but you have to be responsible for your own expectations at the end of the day. And if you'd rather be on the fence that you're going to expect absolutely nothing and wait for Nintendo to officially reveal something so you're not let down, that's perfectly fine. Regardless of your thoughts and opinions on everything we talked about today in the video, I want to hear from you guys in the comments down below. What do you think is going on with the Switch situation? Are you excited for the Splatoon 3 OLED model and you're going to maybe pick that up and you think that's all that Nintendo has planned? Or do you think that this is something that is viewed as a separate special edition and Nintendo's broader future hardware plans still have something to do with a more powerful console? And do you think that hits as soon as this holiday season in 2022, or do you think the soonest we see it, if at all, would be alongside of the launch of Breath of the Wild 2 in spring of 2023? So I appreciate you guys regardless of how you feel about all this stuff, but I do want to hear from you guys at this point in the video in the comments down below before you leave, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around these topics. Go watch yesterday's video next if you haven't already, where we discussed the reason why Mario Kart Tour is likely headed to the PC soon, and a big breakdown of all the rumors and leaks suggesting that Nintendo would be revealing new hardware this month. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.